at the game agency, and I'm joined here by Jamie McDonald. She is our head of business here at the game agency. So in today's webinar, I'd like to walk you through building a match game using the Training Arcade platform. If you're new here, we're super excited to have you. And if you're a regular, welcome back. So real quick, with some announcements. We're super excited to announce that we have a special April promo running right now. And that is anyone who purchases all 8 of our games for $6,000 before April 30th, they will get an extra 10 admins added to their account for free. And that's a $5,000 value because each additional admin seat is $500 each. And I'm also really excited to say that we have new pricing. So you can get all 8 games for $6,000 or a single game for $1,500 each. And Jeopardy is included in this offer. Now, I know we're focusing on the match game today, but I just wanted to say that the Jeopardy game, this is the only Jeopardy game in the market exclusively licensed by Sony Productions. We got to work with them on creating the game with official VO, and the whole look and the feel, so it feels just like the traditional game show, and then the power of the Training Arcade is behind it. So that is included in those offers. And then if you need an enterprise plan for unlimited players, because the regular plan for our game supports up to 2,500 players and a single admin seat, we do offer that solution, and you can check with Jamie on details for the pricing. And then just a quick reminder, if you're not currently a subscriber to the Training Arcade and you haven't signed up for a free trial yet, you actually can take advantage of a 14-day free trial here on the website. You click on this orange button right at the top of the page, start your free trial. Jamie also has a link inside the chat that you can click to go to the website and take advantage of that offer. And then also, in case you have folks from your organization that are unable to make today's webinar, we are recording this session, and we will send out a video after the session is ended today. So today I'd like to give a brief overview of the Training Arcade and explore creating a match game with you all. Match game's playstyle is very similar, or it's exactly the same as the ever popular Bejeweled or Candy Crush game, which is the #1 game mechanic in the world. It's definitely one of our more flashy games here on the platform, and this game mechanic, because it's so addictive, it really keeps people coming back and engaged with the game, which means they're engaged with your content, and so they're learning. The whole goal of the game is to swap pieces on the game board and create identical combinations of 3 or more of the icons. The players will need to answer questions, and after answering a certain amount of questions correct, they'll have access to power-ups that they can use on the game board to help break and win the game much faster. That being said, let's go ahead. I'll jump into what the Training Arcade is and why it exists in the first place. So the game agency launched in 2007, and about 95% of what we do is custom game development. And what we found throughout the years is that not all clients have the budget for a custom gamified solution. And so we wanted to create a product that was not only affordable, but an authoring tool that would allow anyone to easily create and deploy games rapidly. And the Training Arcade is that tool. It lets you complement what you're already doing, whether it's various types of training, sales training, pharmaceutical, other meetings, even client or in-house events. By adding the Training Arcade, it complements your activity because you're providing game mechanics as a source to drive engagement with your content and therefore increasing knowledge retention. So with that said, actually, let's go ahead and dive into the match game. I'm going to show you an example of a match game real quick before we hop into the admin. So this is a cybersecurity match game. I'm going to register for the leaderboard. And so the users will be they'll be brought through the questions. I'll show you 2 different options that are available. You can utilize both, whether the questions show before the actual grid and also during. Just answer this. I'm going to say 120 million. I'm not very good at cybersecurity. So we'll go through these questions. If you get the question correct, if the user gets the question correct, the meter up at the top will actually fill. And that's showing the progression towards each one of those power-ups that they'll have available to them to use in-game once they've attained that threshold. And then they'll be brought to the game board with a timer that you'll have control of that you can set. And this is where the user will need to move the pieces in order to match up in combinations of 3 or more to break the board and increase their points. We'll do a couple more here. Oh, okay. Perfect. And just like that. And they'll keep going throughout. Little tags will pop up for different combos and scores that they'll achieve throughout here. We'll do that. And then let's go ahead. I'm going to actually skip over to this one. This is an example of a custom game. So there are different levels of customizability that you have access to with the Training Arcade. This is one that we actually recently sent out for April Fools. We'll start this. I'll go through this quickly. All right, so there we've unlocked our first power up, the Crossfire. We're going to continue in this, and there it's available to us on here. And so just so you can see, the icons are customized totally different from that theme that you saw in the previous game. We're going to swap through a couple of these and see if we can try and activate our power up here. There we go. Let me go this way. Thank you.
Jack, maybe show the one at the bottom with the question mark where you can match 3 the same, and then that's where a question bubble will pop up.
Where's that? Down
right
here?
There. Yep. See the one to the left down below? Just move that up. The yellow one, yeah. The yellow one to the, yeah, move that up. And
sorry. Okay, so then this triggers the questions inside the game. And then the user will answer this for additional point, and then the additional power up.
And the only thing I'll add there is when you're building the game, you have the ability to put up to 4 questions before gameplay and up to 4 questions during gameplay for every level. And there's up to 10 levels you can build. So up to a group of 80 questions are the max you can put into this particular type of game.
Perfect. Thank you. So that being said, we'll hop over into the game builder now, and we'll show you the power behind the Training Arcade, how this game is actually built, and then some of the other features that you can take advantage of here on the admin tool. So this is the game building screen for that cybersecurity screen. So I will go quickly over some of the highlights here on this game info screen. Starting with the top, so this is where you'll get all of your information, the URL for the game, you'll add your name for the game type. You have the ability to set a timer for the game. You can then enter that specific time in terms of seconds right there. As Jamie just mentioned, you can add the number of levels up to 10 right here, the number of pre-game questions per level, so those questions that pop up right before the player gets to the game board, up to 4, and then the number of in-game questions per level, those questions that if we break that specific brick, that would appear up to 4 as well, right in this. You can add a percentage of questions answered correctly to pass, and you can set that percentage here. So the Training Arcade is SCORM compliant, so if your LMS you utilize the SCORM, we can pass this percentage back to your LMS. So users have to pass this course before they move on. Going down, we also support user authorization. So if you have a specific group of folks within your department, or just groups that you would like to access, let's say the sales folks, you can upload a list, CSV, of those folks to here, and only those folks will have access to the game. We also support single sign-on if your company utilizes that. And then the game supports several themes. So the one that you all just saw was the origami theme. We have the April Fool's theme as well, holiday, and some of these are available to you right out of the gate. And then again, there's also a level of customizability that you can take. So you can add your company logo to the screen, a game title if you want via text or an image, and then upload your own background art to the start screen as well. Jamie, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, just anyone who's new, you do have the option, if you're a global company, to translate this into multiple languages. So most people would pick English as their default language. And then once you've loaded in all the questions in English, you can download a translation template, which would let you add in all the other languages and then upload it. So all of the games have been translated in the back end, things like the start button, the tutorial, the game over screen leaderboard, things like that. Otherwise, you would add in your own translations for the questions themselves.
That's right. And also I can show you what that translation template looks like in a little bit. So I'll go ahead and download this for later. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead. I'm going to hop over into the questions tab. So the questions tab is where all of your content will exist. This is where you'll add all of it to the game. You would start by clicking the add question button right up at the top. All of your questions will be contained within inside of these blue tabs. So we'll click on our first question here. Like our other games in the training arcade, you'll have access to these 5 assessment types. The multiple choice, you have access to multiple select, image match, text put, and poll. You have the ability to upload an image or audio that coincides with that specific question. Then right below you can input your question text. You can set a timer for this specific question. There is the global timer in the default settings, so this overrides it. The global timer is just there. It's just to make things easier for you if you want to have a default overall, and then you can, of course, specify at any point when you're creating your questions here. And then below, you'll have the option to input all of your answers, mark which one is correct. To delete an answer, you can hit the minus button right next to it. You can also choose to randomize your answer. And then below that, you have the feedback response. So you can encourage your users, if they get an answer correct, you can write them a little message here, or incorrect. You can put all that right there. So it's very, very straightforward, super, super easy to create, especially if you have your content ready to go. You can just drop it right in here. All that you need to do after that, after entering your questions, is you can save the game, and you're ready to go. And so then let me pull up the translation real quick. Here we go. So as Jamie was saying, we support 14 different languages. All of the items in the back end, we have already taken care of and translated in those languages. So any of your content that you add in English, you can take in this file here, it'll download it, and then you can pass it off to the translator, and then they would fill in the columns for the languages that you want translated, and then you just come right back to the training arcade and upload it. And your course is supported in multiple languages. So then the last bit I wanted to touch on, we touched briefly on, as I mentioned earlier, the training arcade is SCORM compliant. So on this publish page, after your game is all set, you can access the URL here. This is the URL that your end users will come to and access the game to actually play it. You can download your SCORM packages here. Just click on the SCORM version for you, and then that zip file that gets downloaded, it's going to contain all of the hooks, all of the different components that are necessary to hook inside your LMS. And then, so I think that is it for the match game. Jamie, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would just maybe quickly show the analytics.
Oh, good call.
And the leaderboard.
Okay. See, I'm going to go all the way down to cybersecurity match here. So the analytics are super powerful. So when you come to this page at first, it has a very, very high level view. And so you can see, who's playing it, what rank are they based on their score, how many sessions have they gone through, how much time are they spending playing the game? Are they getting the questions correct or incorrect out of the total questions? And then you can start to get down on a more granular level. For each specific question, you can see, what percentage of your users are getting it correct, incorrect, the number of attempts, but then also, are they getting it correct or incorrect on the first, second, or third attempt? And then even further, you can click on each individual player. And if you want to focus on them, you can see for that specific person, when did they last play it? In that session, again, how many times did they get the questions correct or incorrect? And then you can dive specifically within each question. So it offers a really wide view at first, and then you can dive down deep inside the data and get super granular, super fine details from it within. You're able to customize specific date ranges if you want, and then you can also export all of this data into CSVs and generate your own reports and graphs from it there out. So you can take this data outside of the system as well. And then here's the leaderboard. So this is a leaderboard. You can also customize the date range if you want. And this just shows the rank of all your players, their names and their scores. This is a leaderboard that you could show if you wanted on side of screen. If you're hosting a live event, you could share this and really drive that competition, get people excited about getting the questions correct right there at the live event.
And Jack, I'll just jump in if you don't mind and mention that we work with a lot of clients in the, for their ILT classroom training, large live events, and they use these games as a way to kind of break up the content. So let's, imagine an event that's 2 or 3 days long with lots of content being thrown at the audience. How are you going to effectively ensure that they're going to walk out of these events with all the knowledge that you want and get a good ROI for your event? So what they do is they use these games as a way to break up the day. And because the functionality of this platform allows for so much data capture, and the analytics dashboard is all in real time and the leaderboard's all in real time, the instructor of those events can simply put the leaderboard up on the big screen. They can drive that friendly competition you're looking for, but they can also look at the data and immediately know where the gaps in the learning are so that they can go back and kind of cover the information that there may be a large percentage of the audience got wrong, and ensure there's a much higher level of stickiness on the content.
That's perfect. Awesome.
The only other thing I would mention, and Jack, you touched on this a little bit before, but Match was actually one of the first games that ever launched in the training arcade. It's been about 1.5 years since this game's been out. We did build it because it is based on one of the most popular game mechanics in the world, obviously Candy Crush or Bejeweled. Either you've played it or someone who has. The difference is that we've turned that game into a learning experience where the questions that are asked before gameplay begins, depending on how well you answer them, that allows you to earn boosts to bust up the board faster and advance. And as the levels progress, they get harder and harder. So the better you do answering questions, the better you can perform in the game itself to get, higher points on the leaderboard and, high scores. So it's a really friendly game that appeals to all ages, whether your audience is millennial or older. And we've actually added a number of, we kind of added a number of new development features to the game since it launched in 2017. And it's a beautiful experience. And as Jack said, there's a few different templates to choose from, but we could certainly talk about doing custom skins to make it on brand for your organization.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I think if there's no more questions, or Jamie, if you don't have anything else.
Nope, I'm all good. Thank you.
Perfect. So I think we're good to end. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning into the webinar. We're going to continue to host these on a bi-weekly basis. And Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, I think our next one is the scenarios game, right?
I think there's one in between. 2 weeks from now, there's one, and then we moved scenarios to May 3rd.
Okay.
So that one's coming up as well. We're probably going to be adding in another Jeopardy one because that was so popular and everyone loves that game mechanic. So we're going to bring that back and do another workshop on Jeopardy. So stay tuned. If you go to thetrainingarcade.com under the event section, that's where we have all the dates posted for our upcoming webinars and the different conferences that we'll be at. And definitely check out the April offer that's up there. We're super excited to get more people in your team using the tool and spreading the training love.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining. We hope to see you again.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.